It's this simple, Bolt fam. Win, and we're in. Welcome to the newest episodes of Nuts and Bolts. We're here to preview the Monday Night Football game tonight against the Colts. I'm not joined with Tony Tucker this week. He's feeling a little under the weather. Merry Christmas, Tony Tucker, and your family. Merry Christmas, everyone out there. I'm being joined by David from the Instant Replay, fellow Chargers fan, fellow content creator. David, how is it going, man?
It's going great. Like you said earlier, what a time to be alive. I can't believe that there's actually a scenario right now that we can clinch the playoffs tonight.
Yeah, I know. Like 2 weeks ago, it was looking scary. Like we need to win all our games to even have a chance to make the playoffs. But a couple of teams have fallen, and it's opened the door wide open for us. I'm thankful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm about as thankful as we can get. All right, so let's just talk about the Titans game really quick. Some takeaways from it. The defense continues to play really well. I mean, shut down well. It's out of nowhere almost. It's been about 6 weeks now because I consider that KC game as a good defensive performance. San Francisco game is a good defensive performance. Miami, Tennessee, even Arizona. We've just had a bunch of great defensive performances in the last month or so, and that's exciting to see. What's your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, I think the defense has been playing at a high level. Really, the last 2 weeks, especially against two who we thought might be playoff teams, might not be playoff teams now. But either way, the defense has looked good. The run defense is improving at the right time. Over the last 2 weeks, we've only allowed 109 yards per game. Compared to the first 14 weeks, we allowed 145 yards per game. So I think that is a huge highlight to that interior line, to Braden Fajoko, to Sebastian Joseph-Day, and really everybody in that interior of that defensive line. Because they have that next man up mentality has been real in the interior.
For reals. And it's really been, if you put on the tape, David, and watch it from what me and Tony have seen, just heart. These guys are just playing with more heart than ever at this stretch in the season. And it's the perfect time for that. I wish we had Austin Johnson. I wish we had all these guys and they were still out there, but Fajoku's doing just fine. And Sebastian Joseph-Day is the beast that Sebastian Joseph-Day is. Now on to the offensive side of the ball. The offense is stalling out. Like we'll see a first down. We'll see a good start to the drive and it stall out. We get down to the goal line and things just kind of shut down. They kind of just let the opponents have the easy way out, run the ball twice, and all you got to do is defend Herbert once. What's your thoughts on the offense? How are we going to turn it on? Because I don't think personally we're going to make it very far in the playoffs with the way they've been performing. And there's no real excuses now. We got most of the O-line healthy. The receivers are back. Sawyer's filling in all right for Slater. His return is pending as well. What we got to do better? I think that the Chargers offense is for some reason the weakness over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way, especially when you have 10 under center. You can't rely on defense to win every single game. You do need to have your defense do their job like they have been the last few weeks. But you have to do your job too. You have to help the defense win the game. They can't do it all by themselves. They need to capitalize on turnovers. I think that's the big thing, is capitalizing on turnovers. I did some research earlier. We've had 18 turnovers this year. We have a +3 turnover differential, but we've only scored a touchdown or a field goal on 7 of those turnovers. So I think capitalizing on the turnovers, and also a big thing is getting Justin Herbert outside of the pocket, away from all that pressure that O-line's constantly giving up.
Yeah, and off those turnovers, that's the perfect opportunity within a game, especially in the NFL, to be aggressive. Let Herbert loose. Let Herbert go. It's a bonus possession. You weren't supposed to get that possession anyways. So go ahead. Yep. Go crazy. Let this guy do what he did against Arizona late in the game. Let this guy do what he did with Keenan Allen late in that Raiders game. Let this guy do what he does with Mike Williams on a weekly basis when it comes down to the crunch time in the second freaking quarter. What's wrong with that?
And I think if we capitalize, not even on all of them, if we don't score on all of them, but if we score on most of them, 18-7 is kind of ridiculous to me. That's a lot of turnovers to a little bit of points. But our point differential would look a lot different if we were capitalizing on those turnovers. Right now, I just got sent a picture of it. We've scored 312 points to 340 points against us, and I think that looks a lot different if we capitalize on those turnovers.
100%. I mean, we're approaching 350 at least. But yeah, the offense needs to pick it up. The defense is still playing well. That was my takeaway from the Titans game as well. That's a good Titans team over there. I know they just lost to the Texans this week. They're well coached. They're hungry. They're a little bit injured. That's really what's been ailing them the last 4 weeks or so. They're dealing with some of the stuff we dealt with earlier on in the year. But let's move on to Miami here, or Miami, to Indianapolis tonight. Same result, hopefully, right? On prime time. Yeah. We're playing the Colts tonight in a win and get in situation. The Colts obviously throwing the curveball. Nick Foles is going to be the quarterback, and Jeff Saturday is going to be the coach. If you asked me about 2 months ago that would be the situation, I'd be looking at you sideways. But that's how we got here. Here's the injury report for everybody. For us, nobody. I mean, Joey Bosa's not going to play in this game. Rashawn Slater's not going to play in this game. The obviouses are not Austin Johnson, J.C. Jackson. Those guys are still obviously down and on the IR. But as far as the players that are healthy off of IR and practicing, we're only down Kamon Hall, which is a hit to our special teams. But they've been using Lane on special teams anyways, and I think he's been a little bit better. So I like seeing Jeremy Lane out there. So we're healthy. Derwin James is back this week. All the receivers are good. Trey Pipkins, full practice all week. Who else? Like Sawyer, full practice all week. Bryce Callahan, full practice pretty much all week. The Chargers are ready for this game, and the mentality going into this game is probably ramped up. Then we go look at the other side here. They're going to be down, I believe, who is now their starting tight end, Kylan Granson, but they do have Jelani Woods to fill in for him, kind of similar level players. And a big one, because this is the guy that was going to be covering Keenan Allen, Kenny Moore. He's out for this game, not playing, the slot corner. One of their wide receivers had a concussion, but he's okay. And Brendan Faison, former Raider, I don't know if you remember him, former Charger. He had an illness earlier in the week. He is good to go and playing in this game. But Kenny Moore, that's a big injury for them because you could put Stephon Gilmore on Mike Williams and see how that goes. I don't know who they're going to throw at Keenan Allen.
Not Rock Ya-Sin.
No, he's not even there anymore. I don't know who it is. Brendan Faison. Who Gideon's very familiar with. Obviously, Matt Ryan's not going to be playing in this game. We could talk about that a little bit. What's your thoughts on the dynamic switch to defending Nick Foles versus Matt Ryan? There's a couple different differences there.
It's hard because Nick Foles has that championship pedigree. He's won Super Bowl. He's won the Super Bowl MVP. But at the same time, he's played in one game since the end of the 2020 season. He's played in one game, and it was a 25-24 win over the Seahawks in Week 16 last year. So He hasn't played a lot. I think something we need to do is make him uncomfortable and introduce him to Derwin James.
Yeah, early in the game.
On that pass. Yep.
That's what I was thinking too. A big thing that you can do with a quarterback that's not played as much and, not played on the field with Khalil Mack and Kyle Van Noy and Derwin James and Drew Tranquill coming after them. Move guys around early in the game. Get him confused. Get him second guessing what he's seeing. Make him think. Get him in situations where he's thinking cover 2 and it's man. Get him in situations where he's thinking cover 4 and it's cover 2. And that way that just disrupts him for the entirety of the game. The biggest thing is that I think that he's just a little bit more mobile than Matt Ryan, and he's not going to be as careless with the football. I think he's going to be a little bit more careful with the football. So
he wants to start.
Yeah, and it doesn't change. It does not change much defensively going against Matt Ryan versus Nick Foles. They're both pocket passers. They're both in the same offense, and they're both coached by the same coaches. And Jeff Saturday is probably going to roll out what we've seen. They're going to try and pound the rock. No Jonathan Taylor in this game as well. He's done for the season.
That's huge.
That's huge for us because we would have had a great time with Jonathan Taylor, I'm sure. Let's get into our keys to victories here. What's your thoughts here? Any specific keys that you want to highlight? By the way, if you guys are watching the replay of this, I know there's not as many people tuned in live as usual just because it's a middle of a Monday. And you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments your keys to victories, some bold predictions maybe. But David, what's your keys to victories for tonight?
I actually got 3. The first one, I think we need to establish the run early. The Colts allow 123 yards per game, which is right at the middle of the pack in terms of run defense. But what we need to do is we need to set up the play action, and I talked about it a little bit earlier. We have to get Herbert out of the pocket, away from bad offensive line play and all the pressure that they're consistently giving up. We saw it a lot in the Miami game, not so much in the Tennessee game. I think he got hit a lot in that Tennessee game. But in the Miami game, we saw a lot of designed rollouts that Herbert was having a lot of success with. So I think that's a big one, is getting the run established early so we can move Herbert around outside the pocket. And then getting into the backfield. There's no Jonathan Taylor, like you said. They have inexperienced runners back there. Both of them right around 200 yards on the season. Zach Moss in his 3rd year in the league, who's been a career backup so far. Deion Jackson, his second year in the league. Obviously not that long, but still a career backup so far. So I think getting into the backfield from the interior is big. Braden Fajoko, we talked about him a little bit earlier too. He was our highest graded interior defender in week 15 with 5 tackles and a tackle for a loss. And then SJD is always going to be huge. He's a leader of the interior. He's second on the team in tackles for a loss, leads all the D linemen with 49 tackles. And one thing I saw from him last week, actually, and I'm sure you saw it too, was him just getting into the defense while they were on the sideline. I don't know if he was keeping them motivated. I don't know if there was something that they did incorrectly on their side of the ball, but he was just being a leader out there, and that's the kind of stuff we need. And then we just talked about it, making Nick Foles uncomfortable. He hasn't played a lot in the last 2 years. He does have a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP, so he knows what to do to win. But I think if we create multiple looks in the pass rush with Derwin James, Kyle Van Noy, Drew Tranquil, K9, the list goes on, I think we'll have a successful game today.
Yeah, I think you nailed everything on the head. Only thing I would add as a key, in my opinion, especially in a playoff clinching scenario that we're about to have here, is the Chargers need to focus on just winning the matchups these last 3 games. You don't want to put your best stuff on film for the playoffs. You don't want to put your guys at risk and put them in situations where they're having to make these crazy plays, these crazy acrobatic plays that we see Keenan and Mike making at this point in the season. Win your matchups. When you got Keenan Allen one-on-one with somebody that he's going to cook, have him cook them and safely get the first down and get down. When you have Mike Williams at the sideline in a one-on-one situation, hit that one-on-one situation, have Mike Williams get out of bounds safely for the first down. Same thing with Josh Palmer. Same thing on the defensive side of the ball. They got to be careful at this point in the season. We cannot withstand any injuries. That is just as important to me as, obviously we need to win one more game to make the playoffs. But once we won that one more game, that is just as important to me, staying healthy, as it is winning any of the rest of the games throughout the way. I don't care what seed the Chargers go into the playoffs as, because I know we can beat any team on any given week with a healthy roster. Yep. So I'm ready for everybody. I kind of want to play KC in the first round, honestly.
That's my ideal path to the Super Bowl is Cincy in the first round in Cincinnati. Take them out. We took them to the woodshed last year. We'll do it again. Mm-hmm. Buffalo, and then KC knock them out in the championship.
Yeah, our best path is definitely just going ahead and stepping up to the plate and hitting some home runs. There is no way to manipulate it. It would be cool to play Jacksonville in round 1, but that team is so red hot. Would it be cool? I don't even know, to be honest with you, because they are hot right now. They're going crazy, and they have good coaching now. Weston Werbert's in the chat. What's up? Go Ducks. The 2 high safety work is looking. Who knew? Alohi is the GOAT. Yeah, I've been very impressed with Alohi Gilman's performance in the last couple of weeks. He has improved a ton from his first year in the league, and he's starting to look like a starting level safety in the NFL. The situation is going to be weird, though, because I think they're probably going to move on from Nas, or at least draft a replacement to fill in that spot. JT Woods isn't really panning out the way we thought he would. Maybe another offseason will help him. Alohi Gilman is great, but he's a strong safety, in my opinion. And that's the position Derwin plays. So I wonder if they're going to just do like a little alternating thing, because Alohi can play free safety. He's just not our best option as far as middle of the field deep coverage. Maybe they put Derwin James back there in certain situations, and they have Alohi come up, or vice versa, or what the plan is going to be going into next season with Alohi. But what's your thoughts on Gilman, since we got a comment for him, giving him a shout out?
Like you said, I've been very impressed with Alohi Gilman. One thing that I've noticed that he does in every game that he started in is he flies to the ball. It doesn't matter if it's over on the left hash or it's in the backfield or it's behind them. He will be there. I think he had 10, 12 tackles last week, something like that. He just flies to the ball. And one thing that if he keeps developing the way he is in that position, that's 2 players now that you can just move all over the defense to play wherever you want them to. Yeah. If he keeps developing, especially under Derwin James, to be like a Derwin James, he won't ever be at that level.
No way.
Not anytime soon. But if you can have 2 players that you can manipulate all over the defense, I think that's a huge addition.
And another reason why I love Alohi so much, he's rocking that 32 with pride, man. And he's doing it right. You can't wear that number and be a Charger and let us down, especially at safety. One of my favorite players ever wore that number. So that's the keys to the victory. Keys to victory. Again, let us know in the chat your guys' keys to victory, or in the comments if you guys are watching the replay version of the show. Let's move on to some bold predictions, David. Bold predictions for any specific players here tonight.
Yes, I have one.
I'm listening.
And this might be more hope than anything because I'm down bad in fantasy football. Austin Eckler, 100 rushing yards, 100 receiving yards, 2 total touchdowns.
I'm glad you're saying that because I'm down 50. I'm down 50 in the semifinals of the Dynasty League meeting we're in together. And I have Eckler and Herbert left, and that's it. And they can do it. They've done it all weeks before. They've combined for 50, but it's going to need one of those performances from Eckler where Herbert's getting the receiving yards and the passing touchdown to Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
Nail this. We're about to give our score predictions here in a minute. Giovanni, please subscribe to the channel, by the way. Both up. My bold prediction is going to be Khalil Mack has 2 sacks tonight. Adds 2 more to the sack total. I think that he has some favorable matchups against both tackles. And the Chargers are going to get creative to get some pressure on Nick Foles tonight through blitzes, through everything else, which just leaves Mack one-on-one. And a lot of people have been saying that Khalil Mack shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl. They ain't watching football. Khalil Mack has been a game wrecker this year. He is not prime Khalil Mack. He is not dominating triple teams. But when a guy forces a triple team and still makes the tackle on a lot of runs, or a guy gets a double team and still gets the pressure on the quarterback that leads to a turnover down the field, or the guy on 3rd and 5 is running out there and stripping wide receivers and then going up the sideline with the football, he's still playing at an unreal level. And Joey Bosa is the best player on this defense. Just keep that in mind, everyone. Our best player is coming back in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be insane. Yep. I cannot wait to see those guys rush together.
I can't either. I was sad that we had, 2.5 weeks of it. And the first 2 weeks looked great. We were getting a ton of pressure on Mahomes. We sacked Derek Carr at 3-4 times.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting to see those two back on the field together, especially right at the start of the postseason.
Yeah, and Mahomes even said in his post-game interview, he said, we got kind of lucky with a couple calls by the refs because those 2 pass rushers, they were coming for me. And I had to just get rid of the football at times and hope my guy made a play. So that's something to think about going into the playoffs, that a guy like Patrick Mahomes is already saying that.
Yep.
And that's super important to play a guy like Burrow, who just lost his starting left tackle for the season, or a guy like Josh Allen, who's as mobile as he is. It's going to be super important to have those guys out there on the field. All right, score prediction, David. What do you got?
All right, this is a bold one. And it might be, feeding from my hope for another fantasy win because I have Mike, Everett, and Eckler starting tonight. Chargers 34, Colts 14.
I like that. And that's reasonable. It's been a couple times this year where I've called for a 40-point performance and thought that we're going to score 40 points, and we've fallen short by a wide margin. So I'm going to show some respect to the Colts, a little bit of respect to Stephon Gilmore, a little bit of respect to their pass rush, which is still pretty decent. I'm going to say 31-17. So we're pretty close.
Very similar. Yeah, we're close.
We're pretty close. I think my prediction at the beginning of the week was 30-20, and I'm going to go a little bit, stretch it out a little bit more to 2 touchdowns. And the Chargers will clinch a playoff spot. What are you going to post on TikTok? What should I post on TikTok?
I liked this one video I made back in week 3, maybe something similar to that. It was when we were waiting for the Justin Herbert news to see if he was starting or not. And it's like, now everybody scream. And then you just scream up in the air. Something similar to that.
Maybe that's the one.
It's short, it's quick.
I'll be putting something up for sure. This will be the first. So, I was in the military. Everyone tuned in doesn't know that I was in the military. Maybe I was in the military. I was stationed overseas for a couple years. And this will be my first time watching a Chargers playoff game since
2018 was the last one we had.
Darren Sproles at the sideline. I didn't get to watch that game.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it on ESPN.com.
Yeah, I was in Afghanistan during that game.
We both missed it. So how far back is it? 2012? I don't know. It goes way back before that. There was a year where we just beat the Bengals and then we lost in the second round. I think that's the last time that I saw a Chargers playoff game. It'll definitely be the first time since I've been on social media. So I'm ready for that smoke. That's going to be a lot
2013.
2013. I was close. Don't even bring that up. Speaking of Denver, you saw they fired Nathaniel Hackett?
Yes, they did. I think it's funny that instead of just letting him ride out the season, which is 2 more weeks, they cut him on Christmas right before the season's over.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that their strategy is let's just try and give the team some kind of life to close the year, so we have some kind of positivity to look back on at the end of the year. But I personally think that Russell Wilson's a lot of those problems also.
And everybody likes to rally around an interim head coach.
Always, yeah, and it's probably going to be someone that the team knows the roster is rallying around. They might just send Patrick Starr or do a little fan-controlled football or something. Try something new. I mean, the Colts are getting experimental, so might as well do it. Anyways, I appreciate everyone for tuning in this week. Quicker show. You see this? He said no pressure. That's easy.
No pressure, yeah. Don't forget the 2 touchdowns, Weston Werbert.
Yeah, and the 2 touchdowns. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm joined by the Instant Replay. He is hosting a Chargers watch party or just kind of somewhere where you can go and watch the game if you guys don't have access to a TV tonight and you want to watch it. David, you want to let them know? The link is down below in the description, but let them know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm in a bunch of Chargers Facebook groups too. If you're in them, I know we're in most of the same ones. I'll be posting the link in there, but it's also right down here in the description below. What it is it's going to be on our same streaming platform, just not live on YouTube, so that way they can't shut our stream down.
Yeah, so it's just basically like a Zoom room almost, but
like a private watch party.
Yeah, so if you guys want to join that, the link is down below for both people watching the replay, people tuned in live. David, I appreciate you for coming on this week. We got through it pretty quick. One more thing. Go ahead.
The weather. The weather report for tonight's game. This is the MJT weatherman right here.
Okay.
The weather report for tonight's game.
Unofficial weatherman.
Yeah, unofficial weatherman. 24 degrees, 20% precipitation, 85% humidity, 3-mile-per-hour winds. So it's cold, but it's clean. It's not going to rain. It's not going to be windy. It's just cold.
You're saying it's cold and humid.
Yes. 85% humidity, 24 degrees.
Sounds like a perfect combo for Herbert up the sideline.
For a Los Angeles football team.
Yeah, for a Los Angeles football team. We'll see how it goes. Maybe the weather will affect the game a little bit, bring the score total down. I don't know. 24 degrees is a lot warmer than it was in a lot of places this week.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank God for that. All right, we will see you guys next week. Again, drop those predictions in the comment section. Say what's up. Like the video. Subscribe. Turn on the notifications. I'm joined here with the Instant Replay. Go follow him on all platforms. It's just the Instant Replay, I think, on all platforms, right?
Yep. Same thing right here on all platforms.
Beautiful. We'll see you guys next week as a playoff-bound team.